Welcome to the hottest real estate topics on the planet, keeping you up to date with all the creative ways to buy and sell real estate without bank qualifying, so anyone can build real income starting today. Here is another great show with Dealmaker Bill and Pete the Rookie.
All right, here we are at another episode of Flipping Houses for Rookies. Good morning, Peter.
Morning, Bill.
I'm a little dark this morning. I don't have very good light where I am today. I'm going to have to fix that for next week.
Oh, yeah, maybe it's just you.
Yeah, that's all right.
The dark force of real estate.
People don't need to be looking at me. They just need to be listening.
Yeah, close your eyes, pay attention, make notes.
All right, so we are on podcast episode 353.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, so I'm just going to go here because it tells me that we're not going live. I'm going to push the button again to say you are live now. It says, okay, good.
Yeah, my screen says live, 53 seconds.
I saw that over there, but there was another screen over there saying you weren't live. I think what happened was we weren't live on YouTube. So, all right, good. So episode number 353. Here is the name of the episode.
Mm-hmm.
ROI, rate of return.
Return. No, I know what it is. Wait, return on investment.
Right. How to evaluate and execute creative real estate deals for gargantuan profits. ROI, how to evaluate and execute creative real estate deals for gargantuan profits. Here's the description. ROI, or rate of return, is too often lost in the formulas and negotiating with sellers, mostly because our entrepreneurs are too worried about just getting the deal instead of making a good deal. In this single episode, we will deep dive into how you can use simple head math formulas to make sure you end up on the side of gargantuan deals while the seller gets everything they want when selling. Plus, throughout this episode, we will show you exact spots in every deal that are easy to implement without anyone noticing, but give you extraordinary profits, and can do whether a seasoned investor or just starting out. You just need to know what we are about to reveal in this one podcast. All we plan to do with you today is help you explore in your own mind the potential way you can make way more money doing less deals because of these, until now, strategies have not been revealed, and how it impacts your profitability, which will always govern how you live in the future. Don't miss out how to transform your profits today. So make sure you listen. So there you go.
Yeah.
You tell I didn't practice that, huh?
Well, that's okay. Bill's away, folks. We don't know where, but he's really away.
Yeah, I'm on a sabbatical of some sort, a religious retreat.
Mm-hmm.
All right, here we go.
Yeah.
I would like to start today off with another little observation I've made.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like a lot of rookies are out there looking for that slight edge when it comes to creative real estate.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean, slight edge?
Well, there's always competition in the world. It certainly isn't getting less. So you want to have some kind of advantage where you can optimize some part of the presentation or the deal or something so you can get a deal, get to the end, and do all right. Like something.
Yeah. To me, slight edge means that you have a bit of an advantage to be able to like get ahead of the curve, right? And like kind of almost like a one-upmanship,
Yeah.
right? Have a
Yeah.
slight edge, like a little. You're a little ahead of the competition, right?
Yeah.
Make sense?
Oh, sure. I mean, there's a lot of moving parts. A lot of
Hmm.
things can be tweaked. All you need to do is make a watch that never stops turning around, and you got a better watch, you know?
Right. So we need to stop the podcast because I just realized we didn't do any of our housekeeping stuff.
I thought you had it made where you are.
Oh man.
Boom, boom.
Yeah, exactly.
Come
In the
on.
hotel. In the
That's
hotel.
why.
Yeah. So let's go back up for a second. So yeah. Um there's a first thing is there's a link in the chat that will help you with today's podcast.
In the
Or
description.
in the description. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a link in there. Make sure you subscribe to our channel wherever you're listening to us or watching us. Make sure you leave us a review if you can, or give us a thumbs up, or let us know that you are interested in our podcast or not interested, because that's how we kind of get our feedback from you. The other thing is we have a if you'd like to communicate to us, you can during the podcast you can go on Thursday mornings about 9:30. You can go on to Facebook, you can go on to YouTube, or you can go on to Twitter, and you can just type in Flipping Houses for Rookies. You will find us there, and then you can just, wherever that platform allows you to Rocky. As I'm saying it, Rocky pitches in. He says, "Always interested and interesting."
Both.
Yeah. Thanks, Rocky.
Okay.
So you could go put a comment in. I will tell you that I only will bring up the comments about the podcast. Sometimes people will come on here and they'll be like, we'll be talking about whatever, and they'll be like, how do I get my first deal? So that's not the platform for me to do that. If you want to do that, you can go to WhatsApp Messenger. We have a group called Let's Talk Real Estate. You can join that for free. There's a lot of like-minded people in there. Napoleon Hill, in his book called Think and Grow Rich, talks about the mastermind group. That is a perfect free mastermind group for you. A lot of people, I know Russell Brunson charges $25,000 to be in his mastermind group. Dan Kennedy, I think he charges something like $100,000. So you can get this one for free. Or if you have a personal message for me, you can go to flippinghousesforrookies.com. Top right-hand side, there's a support ticket, and I answer those tickets usually within a day or two. Sometimes I'm in there every day, a couple times a day. Sometimes, like right now, like Peter alluded to, I'm kind of off, and I'm on a kind of a sabbatical, or a little bit of a religious retreat, and with my wife, and I'm kind of working, but I'm not working, and I'm kind of in it, and I'm kind of out of it. So there you go. So, but I do make sure I go in there and check it very often. So there you go.
Mm-hmm.
You say something?
No,
Oh,
I
okay.
was just clearing my throat. Thank you for filling us in, Mr. Hawthorne.
So there's the housekeeping. So let's just start over again. I was saying before that I'd like to start off today with another little observation that I have.
Yeah.
It seems like a lot of rookies are out there looking for that slight edge when it comes to creative real estate. They're looking for that little, to get that, one or two paces ahead of everybody else, right?
Yeah.
So if you're watching the Daytona 500, it's the guy that's got a half a fender in front of everybody else. You know what I mean? He's right out front and he's driving hard, and that's what all real estate investors want.
Yeah.
Almost as if there's some hidden data line they don't know about. Almost as if they are missing out on grandma's pie at Eastern time.
And the recipe thereafter.
Yeah, I must have wrote this around Easter time. Last April.
Uh-huh.
It is, yeah, I do that lately. I write them way in advance. It's kind of like the logic of the lottery, right?
Logic of lottery.
The logic of lottery.
thought it was
Why should I have to build skills, relationships, and experience to make money, when all I have to do is buy a lottery ticket and have it all at once? That's kind of like what I find with a lot of people, right? I'm gonna read that again. It's like the logic of the lottery. Why should I have to build skills, relationships, and experiences to make money when all I have to do is buy a lottery ticket and have it all at once? And that's the
Sure.
way a lot of rookies think, right, Peter? Because we've been to a
Mm,
lot of events, right?
mhm. Well, you put on the TV, you look on Facebook, you look at posts, make $1 million. Okay, sign me up. What
Right,
button do I push?
right,
Where's the ATM machine? And I got
right,
5 minutes. Where's my money?
right,
I'm entitled. I deserve it.
right,
Give me now.
right. So to your point, right?
Uh,
The other problem that we have in our society, and this is strictly my opinion because I wrote it, is a culture heavily influenced in television and movies.
mm,
Too many of us get information from this source and forget that TV and movies are edited productions that are designed to make money from ticket sales or advertisements.
mhm.
I get a lot of people that tell me, because I don't tell too many people that I do real estate because the first thing they think of is I'm a realtor, and that's like just putting a stake in my heart. I'm sorry, I'm not a realtor.
I know
I
that
am
is
the
so rude.
furthest thing in the world from a realtor,
Excuse me? What?
and I find it insulting. I know that people listening to me right now might get mad because I say that, but my education is like, yeah, I'm not going to go there. Compared to a realtor, my education's like a PhD compared to their elementary school education because they only know how to do one transaction, and it's not the realtor themselves; it's the realtor system. Right?
Hmm.
So I'm not picking on people and making berating people or anything like that. It's just the way they do business, right?
Yeah.
So the next part of the conversation is always, oh, I watch A&E or I watch this and I watch, flipping houses, and I'm like, yeah. So
Hey,
I
yeah.
I find myself too often telling my story about Peter and Jesse
Oh, yeah.
making a TV show, right, in one of
Yeah.
my houses, right,
Hmm.
and I watched it, and they filmed. I think they filmed for 5 or 5.5 hours a day for like 8 days or 7 days, right?
Yeah. There was like almost 20 hours of film.
Was it that? Was I thought it was more than that, but yeah, okay,
No, there's a lot of sitting around,
right.
but come on, 20 hours. And when we were done, you watch the show and you take out the commercials and all that, and what's left?
21 minutes.
Hmm.
Yep. So, there's a lot of stuff and that's what really slammed it in for me. I mean, I knew that already,
Yeah.
but that was really like in my face. Like, yeah, they're not showing anything like what it's like to flip a house. All they're
No.
showing is the drama because they want to sell tickets and they want to sell advertising.
Yeah. The drama stuff, the arguments, and the funny parts,
Yeah,
the entertaining parts. It's not always entertaining.
right.
You're not doing it for entertainment. You're doing it for a living, money, helping people.
So this leaves us with a whole society since the 50s, because that's when TV kind of came on board, right?
Yeah.
A little confused about what's real and what's not,
Hmm.
right? It's kind of interesting because I read Baldacci, which is he's like a mystery writer,
Yeah.
and I'm into that stuff, and I get in times like right now I'm kind of relaxed, and I was reading. I don't know if you know this or not, but I didn't know this. That's what I'm telling you is
Mhm.
um, Napoleon Hill had several books. Did you know that? I thought he just wrote the
You
one.
mentioned that a few weeks ago, but I didn't know that until recently.
Yeah, so I was reading his other, and it's just I'm not in that frame of mind. So, anyways, my point in reading this is the book. It's about a detective, and actually a PI, a private investigator, and
Hmm.
it's written in the 50s. The book starts off. It's the second one I read. The first one was in 52. This one's in 1953. It starts off New Year's 1953, and it's just very interesting to me. I know it's like a fiction book, but it's very interesting to me because this guy does a very good job with his research to
Yeah.
see what it was like in the 50s, how just the cars and the lack of TV, because
Hmm.
he actually talks about They talk about that. Anyways, this is set in Hollywood.
Oh.
And the research is phenomenal on what Hollywood was like in the 50s,
Hmm.
and it's very passive aggressive,
Hmm.
Hollywood, you know what I mean?
Oh,
And,
sure.
it's all about, a lot of money and a lot of fame and it's just very interesting. The
Yeah.
point that I'm bringing this up in a real estate podcast is that it's all fake. It's like show and tell. It's like when you're in kindergarten. You're gonna
Mhm.
go and you're gonna get your 3 minutes of fame under show and tell. And for the next couple days, you're either going to be harassed or complimented by the girls, right? So that's what these flipping shows do,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's a 30-minute show, and they make $10 trillion in 30 minutes. So
Yeah. Every commercial break, the show ends with, "Oh no, the pipe is broke. This can cost $10,000." And you go, "Oh my God, what happened?" And they come back and said, "Ah, no, the plumber came. He found a leak. It was $200. We're fine now."
right.
And then the end of that little segment, "Oh no, the roof is going to collapse." Ah! And they come back, "No, the roof is fine."
Now
Boy, they keep.
that stuff actually happens because I was on a conference call with Sean last night, my other partner, and we have property in Cleveland, and we have a property we just sold, and the girl's been in there probably 2 months or 3 months, and there's something wrong in the basement with sewer lines, so there's like raw sewage in the basement, right?
Yeah.
And our maintenance guy is like telling us that it's 2,800 to 3,800 to fix it. And God bless Sean. I mean, he's a millennial and he knows how to get around, so he goes on Thumbtack. And we found some guy, and my guy's off trying to find somebody else for like 3 or 4 days. And unbeknownst to me, Sean, without me knowing it, because I hadn't talked to him for a couple of days, went on Thumbtack and found some guy, and he fixed it for $700.
Mm-hmm.
So that stuff happens. It's for real, but
Yep.
there's no drama.
Yeah. Well, see, they end each segment with the horror. They make you wait 2 minutes, biting your nails, and then like everything's fine. Of course,
wish
it's
it
not
was-
2 minutes in real
It's not
life.
2 minutes
It's
anymore.
days in real life before
Well,
you fix
yeah.
it.
The point is it's not 2 minutes anymore with the commercials. It's 10 minutes. But all right, enough of that rant. What I want to get to today is there's not much difference between success and failure, and it's not as dramatic as what most people think.
Hmm.
It's like this start finish line. You know what I mean? Like I was talking about the Daytona 500. There's this start finish line,
Yeah.
and there's dramatic. It's like all my life. Of course, I was in the car business. And all my life is second place. This saying is second place is the first place of the losers.
Yeah.
It's not like that dramatic in life, or definitely in real estate, right?
No.
In fact, the difference between success and failure is so subtle and so mundane that almost 100% of all creative real estate entrepreneurs miss it.
Really?
Yeah. And this shift in philosophy that we're about to cover could be one of the single things that changes your life, because it's just noticing it, right? Because as you have probably heard me say or listen, read in my emails or any one of my books or any video that I made, you might have heard me say the definition of success. Go ahead, Peter. You want to give it? You remember it? I know you remember.
Yeah. And yeah. Well, the definition is doing more things right than doing things wrong.
Doing more of the right things than the wrong things. That's right. Exactly right. Right. So that's what the problem is. And I say problem, it's not really a problem, but that's what I'm talking about. And I'm going to get into this a little bit more. I'm diverting for a second, but in the beginning, when you're learning something, all the data seems important.
Mm-hmm.
You're trying to retain all the data.
Yep.
Like what we just talked about. I hired a plumber for 700 instead of 2,800. You think that's important, so you'll try to retain that information. You think the deal structuring is important. You think the sentences are important. And you're trying to retain all the information. The difference between a pro and an amateur is a pro will elevate to the senior datums.
Mm.
And it's kind of like, it's kind of like if you were to drive through the Pocono Mountains or the Rocky Mountains, and you have, peaks of mountains and then valleys and peaks and valleys. It's like the pro skims across the peaks
Mm.
with the information because he or she knows what's important and what's not important. And the other information just gets acknowledged or kind of a little bit brushed off, not really that way, but it's not used in the deal,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that's a big difference on how you evaluate data, right? So that's just a little hint of like what you should consider. Does that make sense, or am I being too
No,
profound?
it does. If I can just, in my viewpoint, there's a lot of things that happen in real estate. Bill's been through more than me, but I've been through some. And there's so many minutiae, you can't catalog all that. You don't need to because it won't be the same the next time. So when little things happen, you figure them out when they happen. But there's some things that are constant, important, and the big stuff. And that's the important information that's reliable or the stuff you really got to pay attention to. The other
And the
stuff,
trouble the
kind
trouble
of,
that Peter's right. The trouble that I have is that I like things simple because really I'm just a dumbass. Right. I just like things simple and easy because I've realized that in my life the simple things last the longest.
mm-hmm,
So just for an example, completely being diverted, when I say you only need four things to make a deal, that's what I mean.
mm-hmm,
You need to know the price, you need to know the payment, you need to know the term, and you need to know if they want a deposit or not.
yeah,
Those four things make you a deal. Now, is it the entire deal? Oh, of course not. You're going to have to do your due diligence on the property. You're going
mm-hmm,
to you're going to have to know how to sell it. You know what I mean? There's other things that are involved. But the point is that those four uh, properties are kind of like a blind person walking down the street with the stick, tapping it on the sidewalk, looking for, right? They're not worried about the sidewalk. They're looking for blockage. They're
mm-hmm,
looking for an obstacle,
mm-hmm.
right? And so that's what I'm talking about is that if you had those four stable datums, like this is what we need to make a deal, once you get somebody to start agreeing to those saying yes more than no, right? Then you're going to continue and you'll go down the rabbit hole with that deal. But it's the right deal to go down the rabbit hole with. Because what happens is there's too many people and it took, and I say this because God, Peter, you and I did this for years, and then I dragged you through the mud with it too.
Mm-hmm.
Is we're trying to convert every single person, right? And it took me 20 years or longer to figure out we're not doing that. What we need to do is pre-qualify them with the four questions, and that's why the solopreneur script works so well. Like
Yeah.
the questions are just as simple as, well, is a house for sale?
Mm-hmm.
Whose name is on the deed? What are you asking for a price? And then once you find out what the price is, you say, well, the only way I could pay that price is if I pay monthly payments until we pay you off. Are you willing to talk about that?
Yeah.
If they say yes, then you've already got the price. You go right into the payment. You start talking about payment, right? And then terms. If they say no, they want all cash, then you go after a discount. And what we use is the cost to sell discount, which is the 12 to 15% it's going to cost them to sell. And we explain that to them.
Yeah.
Okay, so that makes sense, right?
Yeah. Well, if you don't have those four things, what good is the rest of any of that? The rest of it.
Right. So that's what I'm talking about with senior data, and you're just trying to retain too much information, and you don't need it all.
Well, how many what was the square footage of the house? What,
Yeah.
Wait a minute. What color are the walls? What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
One fireplace or two?
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So what I would like to do today is list the impactful points of every deal, so they become gargantuan right away in your head.
Mm-hmm.
Then talk about each one briefly.
Sure.
Okay. So it looks like I have 5 here.
Mm-hmm.
So let's learn about them together because I don't remember what I wrote.
Well, it was weeks ago now.
Yeah, a month. All right. Number one. Here we go. You ready?
Ready.
Number one. Your purpose or aim so results are easy to see and get. So I'm going to explain all these, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is huge. This is something that not enough people talk about. And I'm going to tell you when I'm coaching people privately, I run into this too much because remember in my in my podcast description, let me go back here, right? It says too many. It is often lost in the formulas and negotiating with sellers, mostly because our entrepreneurs are too worried about just getting a deal instead of making a good deal.
Mm.
So they're like, I'll take any deal.
Mm-hmm.
I'll make $2,000. It's just like totally desperate and begging. That's their purpose. So what kind of deals do you think they're going to get? What's going to happen, right? So I'm going to get into this in a minute, but having your purpose and your aim so results are easy to see and get. And I did not do this for a long time because I was one of those guys. It's just I just want money. I just want a deal. I want to make, $5,000, 10 grand, 20 grand, 30 grand. I just want to figure it out. So the purpose is I just want to figure it out. Right? You know what that's like? You know what that's like? It's like being on a ship and saying, I want to get to that horizon.
Ooh. That's almost as bad as tomorrow never comes.
Right, exactly.
Ooh.
Okay, so number two,
Yeah.
time is more important in deals than price or discount.
Wait, what do you mean?
I'm going to explain these.
Okay.
So time is more important in deals than price or discount.
Okay.
Number three, transforming from being the lendee into being the lender is vital. Number four, now I'm talking about making gargantuan deals. I'm not talking about just making a deal. I'm talking about making the creme of the la creme of the la creme, like the best of the best of the best deals.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the mindset that you have to be in. These are the velvet ropes you got to be in to get inside this show. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
4, slow down to go fast. There is no such thing as an instant life. And number 5, success expands to fill the time available for its completion.
You say that again?
Yeah. You looked confused. I'm like, I might be I might have jumped off the wrong plank here with this.
You're not done yet. We're going to give you another half an hour.
Okay.
But what's the last one again?
Success expands to fill the time available for its completion.
Yeah, you'll need to explain that when we get to it. Okay. That's
all right. So
now.
before we dive into these 5, I want to say this.
Yeah.
The simplest things that lead to success are all easy to do, but they're also easy not to do as well.
Okay.
Example, it's easy to save a few bucks each day or a week, but it's also easy not to do it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's easy to do 15 minutes of exercise each day, walk or eat right.
Yep.
Or not do it.
True that.
Habits change with doing. Habits change after you make a decision.
Yeah.
Okay. So just realize that when we're talking here, these habits, and I don't think I'm being arrogant, but I don't think you could get this. You might have to listen to this podcast a couple times because it's a different way to think.
Mm-hmm.
But if you wanna walk away from the herd, I'm gonna tell you, Dan Kennedy taught me this, and I gotta tell you, I had no idea how much this would impact my life. It impacted the last 20 years of my life immensely.
Really?
He said the best way to know what to do is go the opposite of the herd. So I would come up with an idea and I would tell my first wife, I would tell her, and she's like, no way, that's stupid. Or I would tell sooner my new wife is much more complacent with, that's why she's, and I say new wife, we've been together 25 years. So, right. We've been married for 20, I don't even know, a long time. Right. Not as long as my mother and father. My mother and father were 61 before he passed away.
Yeah.
But I feel like I've been christened with her, right? So the point is this. The more objection I would get to my idea, the more I knew it was right.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's all my point is. So let's go into number one. Your purpose or aim, so results are easy to see and get. Just to be clear, purpose means priority in this context to me. In this context, purpose means priority or one's intention and aim for the future.
Yeah.
Right? It's not the goal, it's what backs up the goal, the reason why, and the motivation. It's the emotional part of the goal. That's what I always think as a purpose.
You can ask somebody, what's your goal? Oh, I want to be a leader of whatever. Yeah, but why?
Yeah, I'm making $100 a week. I want to make 150.
Okay.
So that's the goal. But here's the point. If you don't have an emotional attachment behind it and a belief system that you can do it, the goal is toilet paper. You can write it down on paper, just use it tomorrow morning and for toilet paper, because that's about as good as it is. So the purpose to me is the priority.
Okay.
Now, priorities, as you and I both know, our listeners, take precedence to everything else. Now, priorities are often illogical. Like I need to be home at 6:00 so I can watch whatever TV show.
Oh, yeah.
And you're thinking, what? You can't make a phone call to a seller, right? To make $20,000 because of a TV show? You know what I mean?
But Bill, it's a real estate show.
Yeah. Right. And I'm being facetious, but that happens because people will tell me they need to study or they need to get, hear their script or practice their script, when really all they need to do is just make one phone call.
Yeah.
So here's the most important thing about purpose or your aim. Is it one way or two way? Example, one way is I want money for blank.
Yeah.
All about you and what you get.
Yeah.
Or as you and I slang the term, it's money motivated. You're money motivated. And that's not very good, because on a scale of motivation, money's at the very bottom.
Yeah. A hired mercenary will turn his back when the money goes higher somewhere else.
Right. So I never seen this work after training so many people. When they're money motivated, they do not last. They're always looking for the next shiny object. They're always looking for a push button thing, which after all these years, I can't even believe that I made that. I made that with Creative ROI Replay, with my partners, of course. But oh my God, we're testing right now some AI, which is artificial intelligence. And our leads come in. I mean, I had a 2-hour meeting with Sean last night, and what we have coming down the road is, I don't even know. I was thinking, Peter, in the middle of that meeting, I was out back on the porch and I was just smoking a cigar and just chilling with him. And we were just kind of going over some stuff. And I was thinking to myself in the middle of that meeting, like, how on God's green earth did I get here? I am so fortunate. I am such a lucky guy, to have people like him and you and others around me. It's just incredible how I've gotten here.
Mm.
Because I was a hot mess when I was young, man. I was a reckless dude, right? So money motivation doesn't work. So that's the one way. When you're all in it for yourself, and you've all seen those people, that's the used car guy. You go onto the used car lot, and he's showing you the car that he makes the most commission on,
Yep.
right? Two-way, and the secret, two-way purpose, and the secret is routing your mission and purpose in the world of the other side, right? So you're kind of putting your purpose and your aims in the other side. So if you're the seller, I'm the buyer, you're the other side,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Like putting yourself in their shoes.
Yeah, it's a little bit more than, well, putting yourself in their shoes is like getting their reality or what they're thinking.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm saying is this is a little bit more determined on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
Like so it's not just making sure I get a good deal, but making sure they get a good deal too.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So to that point, yes, it's like putting yourself in the other shoes, is being compassionate, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, my mission or purpose in each transaction is to help sellers sell a house they normally couldn't sell the way that I can offer them.
Mm-hmm.
Usually so they can make more money or have more ease when they're selling,
Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So to help sellers sell a house they normally can't sell on their own, and help buyers buy a house they normally couldn't buy, and helping me and my family live the way we choose to live. The most important part is vision drives decision. The most important part of this is vision drives decision, right? So mission and purpose creates, guides, and enhances vision. So you need to match make the buyer's vision with the seller's vision and your vision to make deals.
Hmm.
Does that
Yeah.
make sense? Am I too profound?
No, I mean, I remember talking to somebody probably a couple of years ago. They're asking me, well, what are you doing? And what's your deal with the real estate? And I said, I'm trying to find a way to help you on this transaction, because if I don't help you, why would you bother even talking to me?
Right.
And because he was almost, like, oh, who are you? What do you want? Like, I'm trying to find out what you're trying to do. If I can help you do that, we can talk. Not, I'll go away. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, a couple of authors have made clever out of this, and they say you got to dial into WIIFM. Right? What's in it for me?
Yeah.
Right? That's what WIIFM is. So you need to know what motivates the seller, right? What are they going through?
Oh, we're looking for what's in it for them.
Yeah. Yeah, because you already know what's in it for you, so you don't need to reveal that. So you just need to see, this is kind of like the reverse of when we talk to sellers, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
They don't want us to buy their property, especially
Mhm.
for sell by owners,
Mhm.
right? Which, by the way, I saw you put that in the Facebook chat group the other day, which is very well done on your part, how you explained it.
Well, I had seen a couple answers. I threw mine in. Then I saw yours, which was better.
Oh.
But I thought I'd throw mine in too, because my answers are at my level, which is a lot of the people out there are below or above, but they're somewhere near my level, maybe not yours. So mine will hit them one way, yours will hit them the other way. You put the both together, and it's good.
Yeah. So the point is that I lost my point. Anyways.
Well, we're talking about what's in it for me, what's in it for them.
Right. So all I'm saying is that if you're tuned in, if you're tuned into them
Mm-hmm.
and know what their aims are,
Mm-hmm.
and it matches yours, you can keep going. If it doesn't, which is the exact reason why the script works so well, because if we're going to do creative real estate, we're going to ask, is the house for sale? Whose name is on the deed? What's your price? And then we're going to say, okay, the only way I could pay that price is if I make monthly payments and I'll pay you off. Can we talk about that? That's
Yeah.
exactly what I'm talking about here. We're asking what their aims are, right? Right away, we're saying, do you need all the money right now?
Yep.
Right? That's what we're saying.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's move on because we're way into the podcast here. So here we go. So to finish that up, purpose, and aim, right? I'm
Mm-hmm.
not going to get into this now because I don't have time. But you will start to notice your transactions will predicate whether or not you'll start doing deals. Like, for example, I recently had a transaction where I was selling a house. It was a $190,000 house. Guy wanted to give me $34,000 down. Another guy wanted to give me $7,000 down. Another guy and paid me $1,675 a month. Another guy wanted to give me $7,000 down and was willing to pay $208 a month for down payment assistance to get up to $12,000. I took the last one because they fit into my aims and what I want my portfolio to look like. How do I want it to perform? Because I'm more interested on the retire early, money now, money monthly, money later. So my monthly cash flow is my aim.
Yeah.
Right? So to end this off, no vision, no action.
Hmm.
No vision, no decision.
Hmm.
No vision, no deals. So you have to know what your purpose is and you have to know how to describe it. They call this a mission statement easily
Mm.
so that you can actually line it up and what you're doing. Because now it's not like, I want to make money off of you, Mr. Seller. It's more like, I want to help you because this is what I want. This is what you want. Let's team up and make it happen.
That's right. That's an interesting point. A lot of what we think happens in this world is adversarial, like two teams fighting against each other. Like you get a job and you got a boss and you're in conflict, like you want different things. Like that's crazy.
Yeah.
We have to find ways to actually work together, split the money fairly, and be a team, whether it's management, employees, seller, buyer. Why can't we work together?
Completely. Yep.
We
All right,
just have
next.
bad idea, like it's like two teams, Jets and Giants fighting. No.
Next. Time is more important in deals than price or discounts.
Mm-hmm.
Success is a process, not a destination. Success is a process, not a demonstration. So if you listen to athletes, they will tell you believe in the process. That's how they get to where they are. Especially basketball players like Magic Johnson's like that. Believe in the process.
Yeah.
Right? Not the destination. Too many times, rookies especially, need or want that chunk of dough to solve some temporary financial problem that they don't qualify deals with. Money now, money monthly, money later. They're just worried about the cash, right?
Mm-hmm.
This decision slants to the chunks of dough and blinds the rookie on the real gargantuan profit or the compounding effort.
Mm-hmm.
So in this particular case, we're talking about the compounding effort, the money monthly, which is why Einstein said on his deathbed, when asked the best invention, he replied, compounded interest is the most powerful force in the world. He even called it the eighth wonder of the world.
Really? Oh.
So when we're talking about time, and you and I have done many podcasts about this, what we're talking about is looking at the entire deal.
Mm.
not just the chunk of dough.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Or the opposite. I've seen too many rookies like, yeah, they could make $20,000 now, right? But the tenant's buyer is a little sketchy, or there's something wrong, or they don't do something correctly, and it's going to come back and bite them in the ass later.
Yeah.
Because they're not thinking about later, they're just thinking about the $20,000 worth of dough, which is why the purpose is important first. Then you have to worry about time. You have to realize that time always makes money, just like an interest. Right? So the more time you give the deal, the more you will make.
Yep.
Okay. Moving on to number 3.
Mm-hmm.
Transforming from being the lendee into being the lender.
Mm.
Truth is, the only real way to be successful is to spend less time to acquire more money.
Mm-hmm.
And the only way I know how to do that is to have more and more people paying you. So the
Yeah.
more people you have paying you, the higher your success. Do you think Jeff Bezos wakes up in the morning and wonders how many people are going to order something on Amazon? No. Right? So whether it's an online thing, or whether it's a real estate thing, or whether it's a business, the more people you have paying you, the more successful you will be.
Sure.
And the best thing on planet Earth to get paid for in less time is real estate. Right? So this golden rule, which is a Kiyosaki thing,
Mm-hmm.
assets pay you, liabilities cost you.
Yeah.
Just tip the scale so you have more inflow, or people paying you, than outflow, which is you paying. The secret to freedom equals more inflow than outflow.
Can't argue that.
I like to do 3x. We talked about that.
Mm.
And I always dream of having 5x.
Yeah.
So if I need $1,000 to live, I need to make 5,000. If I need 5,000, I need to make 25,000.
Yeah.
Right? If you look at a lot of millionaires, you will realize that they have paid everything off. They don't have mortgages. They don't have car payments. They don't have all those things that gobble up their income, and they have sufficient income above their expenses.
Mm-hmm.
So it just keeps accumulating, which, by the way, goes back to number 2, which is time is more important than price.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, if you're making $1,000 a month on a property, and that's $12,000 a year, and you have that property for 5 years, how much did that just make you?
Mm.
Right?
Yep. And lo and behold, you look at the price of the value of the property, and that's gone up considerably, especially lately.
Right.
Hang on to it. I can't believe we were looking at a 6-family that was under $400,000 a few years ago. Now I'm looking at 2 families that are the same price. Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, we should have bought that property, but I've kind of got cold feet on the financing.
Yeah, but the point is whether we bought it or not, the number. So if you can, I said this a few years ago, like, boy, if you just get into a property and hang in there, you can't go wrong unless you bought it real stupid.
I had a single family house that I paid, I think I paid $190 for it, or $194 for it. And I sold it for like $210. And I got my down payment money, which was all my profit. There was no money later.
Yeah.
And I was making $390 a month.
Mm-hmm.
I did it for 2.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
The property went up in value. I ended up taking like $50,000 or $40,000 out of the house. I sold it.
Yeah.
So time changes everything, right? All right, good. Number 4, the one you're asking about.
Mm-hmm.
Slow down to go fast. Well, actually, the next one you were talking about. Slow down to go fast. There is no such thing as an instant life. That's what I was talking about in the beginning of the podcast, right?
Yeah.
First real gain you need is to realize your past does not need to equal your future. This is for my friends that have fear. This is paralysis of analysis. This is I'm nervous or I'm scared. This is who I'm talking to right now. You have to realize your past does not equal your future. This is such simple words, and I promise you, when you try to implement it, you can't. Because your mind is actually created to store those fearful or painful moments subconsciously. They say a subconscious mind. That is a subconscious mind, is the storage of all those painful, those things that cause unrest, those bad things. You fell off your bike and broke your leg. You don't remember that, but your mind does subconsciously. So the next time you see a bike, you get this weird feeling in your stomach, or you're like, "Oh, I don't think I should go near that bike." You don't know why, but your mind is telling you that subconsciously, right?
I'm not riding that bike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have to be able to recognize when this is happening, which is very hard to do because it's so subtle and you don't even know you're thinking that. I mean, it's like that's what animals do, like a deer in the woods.
Yeah.
You know, a stick breaks, right? And they run.
Yeah.
Well, I got news for you. I've been in the woods hunting in very desolate places, and when you break a stick, the deer just looks because they don't know what it is. But I'll be in Durham, Connecticut hunting, and the stick breaks and the deer runs because the place is full of hunters.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a very illogical way to think. So you have to recognize if you think to yourself, my gut's just telling me I should do it, or I just got this feeling. That's where you need to apply. The past doesn't need to equal the future.
Yeah.
Just because you have failed before does not mean you will fail again in the same way. In fact, it's just the opposite, because if you failed before, you now have the experience and you have more chances of not failing. Right?
If you use it, if you use the knowledge from it instead of the reaction of it. Yeah.
Which tells me everything in your life is either working for you or against you.
Huh.
You just need the correct viewpoint on it.
Yeah.
This comes down to choice. Does each help you? In other words, does each choice help you with the mission, your aim, and your purpose? Or does it take away from your mission, your aims, and your purpose? That's the reason why it's so important, is because every decision you make, every deal you make should align to greatness or not greatness of your mission, aims, or purpose. I'm going to tell you one of the things that I do that you don't need to do, but it's like if something happens to me, especially something bad, and it hangs around for days, which it could do, right?
Sure.
I immediately realize it. I do it much quicker now than I used to, but I immediately realize, why is this thing hanging around? And all I do is I convert that bad thing into a lesson, and it disappears. Like, I'm glad that happened because here's what I learned.
Yeah.
And once I convert it like that, it goes away. So realize the power of choice is self-determinism over your environment and your world. So if you can start to control your thoughts, which is not easy to do, and you start to at least recognize that it's happening, you'll start. And I'm telling you, this sounds like I'm like doing some philosophy here, but this is what makes big gargantuan deals, is when you can control these things. Okay.
Yeah. I'm sure there's not one successful person that doesn't do what you're saying.
Right.
So philosophy or not, it's real.
So number 5, Success expands to fill the time available for its completion.
Mm-hmm.
The easiest way to explain this is to take a Dan Kennedy analogy.
Yeah.
Okay. Think of clients as cattle for a moment,
Okay.
right? So let's just come out of the real estate business for a second, but let's just think of clients like you have an online store. Remember, I told you that one of the successful actions is the more people that pay you,
Mm.
the more success you have, right? So
Right.
think of clients or customers as cattle for a moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
You spend your time corralling them into a fenced in area so they're all in one spot. So that's the purpose of an email list
Yeah.
or a marketing list. So many people think they have a business to sell. Like, oh, well, like our friend Jay sells water systems.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He thinks that that's his business. No, his business is to corral people that need water systems. Right? So one of the examples I had not talked about in a long time is, let's suppose you were a plumber in a small town in the desert of Arizona, and there's 100 people in that town.
Mm-hmm.
You could put out your marketing that says, "Oh, I fixed leaks. Anybody have a leak today?" And maybe talk to one or two people
Yep.
a week or a day, right?
Yep.
Or you can do the reverse and you could say, hey, listen, here's tips on how to not have leaks with your pipes. Or here's how to
Mm-hmm.
take care of your water heater. Or now you could talk to all 100 people
Mm.
and you become familiar with them, or they become familiar with you. They feel like you're giving them something. So reciprocity alone will say that when they get a leak, who are they going to call?
Sure.
Right? That's what I'm talking about. Corralling or putting a fence around your herd.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the reason why you do that is because if you have a herd of cattle and you need to eat, you know where to go. You don't have to roam the plains to find cattle. No, they're in your herd.
Yeah.
Right? So it's a rough way to explain it, but here's my point. The cattle are fenced in. In other words, agree with your visions. They agree with your purpose. They agree with your visions, right? They agree with your mission and are paying you because you have something they need and want, or are seeking something you might have,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if you have 5, 10, 20, or 100 people paying you, which are like they're inside your fence, the only way to get more money is this way. So am I okay? Am I going too fast?
I think I got it.
So the only way to increase your income in any business, and
Mm-hmm.
this is a Jay Abraham thing, right? Is number one, increase the number of clients that pay you. This is the only way to make more money. There is no other way. Increase the number of clients that pay you. Like this is like in your guitar business.
Mm-hmm.
This is the way you would do it. So
Yeah.
increase the number of clients that pay you.
Mm-hmm.
2, increase the average size that each client pays you.
Mm-hmm.
3, increase the number of times the clients return to pay you.
Yep.
That's easy to do in real estate because how do we do that? So we increase the number of people to pay us by finding deals.
Right. And hanging on to them.
Right. Increase the average size of each client, which we do with, like one way we do it is down payment assistance. So our rent is $1,600 a month, right? Like I just sold a place, the rent is $1,675 a month. And there's like, I think $550 a month in positive cash flow.
Mm-hmm.
By just saying to him, I need 10% down or I need $12,000 down, which is the example I just gave you before. He only had $7,000 down or $8,000. He gave me $8,000 because he had to pay 1 month's rent, but he gave me $7,000 down. Now all of a sudden, he's paying me $1,888 because because that's what he was paying where he was living before. And I
Ah.
got $208 a month for down payment assistance. So I just went from $550 to $750 a month
Mm-hmm.
because of number two. I increased the average size that the client pays me.
Yeah.
Another thing I did is if he buys within the 12-month period,
Mm-hmm.
he pays my $190.
Yeah.
If he goes the second year, price increases by 0.5% per month, which is a total of 6%. So
Yeah.
I just made another $12,000.
Mm-hmm.
Plus I got $208 a month. So I made $24,000, right? No, 2,400. No, $5,000. I made $200 a month for 24 months, which is 4,800
Mm-hmm.
plus 12,000. So I got him to pay me an extra $16,000 a month. I mean, it's $16,000 in the deal,
Mm.
right? And then increase the number of times he pays me, which is obviously, there's other ways to do that too. We can talk about that some other time. But does
Mm-hmm.
this make sense?
Yeah, and it's not just money in your pocket. He doesn't have to get a loan as big because he has more down payment.
Right.
If he buys the house sooner, he saves some money. If he's sitting there dragging his ass, he has to pay a little bit more, and that's fair in this world. You drag your butt, you sit there longer, things cost more. So it's incentives. So you give him an opportunity, and you're making money too. So it's fair all the way around.
So let's dumb this down as simple as we could be, right?
Yeah.
The great equalizer,
Yeah.
the nutshell on how to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Money now, money monthly, money later.
Yeah.
Every deal you should ask yourself, where's my money now? Where's my money monthly? Where's my money later? That takes the whole deal into one picture, and it does exactly what I just explained to you. It allows you to do these things, right?
Yep.
So this step is all about making a bigger fence around your herd,
Mm.
then asking for more money down because now you are in the lender's position, not the
Yeah.
lendee. You are the bank,
Yep.
right? That's important. You make the decisions on the money, not the bank. You
Mm-hmm.
allow the people to be in your houses, not the bank. You make the rules. The guy with the gold makes the rules. You have the gold. Even
Yep.
though you still have to pay your seller, they are no longer in control because you took over control.
Mm-hmm.
Which brings us to number 3, increase the number of times the clients pay you with things like down payment assistance, programs, increasing sale prices over time, like we just talked about.
Yeah.
Right? A mere 5 to 10% in all categories make a huge difference over time.
Yeah.
Much like a ripple effect in a pond.
Mm-hmm.
You're next to the edge of a small pond and you throw a pebble in, and by the time it gets to the other side, it's a big thing.
Yeah.
Right. Now, I know I kind of went very profound on this podcast, but I'm telling you, if you listen a couple times and take some notes, that my 5 little mindsets that we have here, which I'm going to read again once I find them. 1, your purpose or your aim. So results are easy to see and get. Right? It's like there's a bullseye, I got to hit it, and it's
Mm-hmm.
very clear. Excuse me. 2, time is more important in deals than price or discounts. Because over time you have a lot of people paying you. It doesn't matter. You'll just make money.
Yep.
Plus, like you said, real estate always increases.
Yeah. The rent, the price. Yeah.
3, transforming from being the lendee into being the lender. You go from being the person living by the rules to the king with all the gold that makes the rules. Right?
Yep.
4, slow down and go fast. This is no such thing as an instant life. There is no such thing as an instant life. So, you don't want to just get that chunk of dough for 20 grand. Right? in the beginning, you'll want to do that because you have pressing things on you. But you'll, after a while, and I know this, we had to go through some of this with you. I know I had to go through it.
Mhm.
After a while, you realize, you made 50 grand. So what? It only lasted this long. And
Mhm.
sooner or later, the 50 grand goes away, or it dwindles down to 10 grand or 20 grand or whatever. And you're like, oh, and you start thinking, I got to do that again.
Yep.
Right. So, and it's not so easy to make the chunks of dough. That's a lot of work. That's sometimes 6 months worth of work or 3
Mhm.
months worth of work or whatever. It's a lot easier to go, to slow down and go fast. It's a lot easier to start taking deals that pay you $800-900 a month and start replacing your income. Right.
Yeah.
I could tell you right now, one of my successful actions is I'm doing what I'm doing while I'm doing it. In other words, like right now I'm doing this podcast. I'm not doing anything else. I'm not, my phone shut off. I'm just concentrating on this, putting my attention on this. And then when I get done with this, I move on to the next thing.
Mhm.
Right. That's very important. Right. And then the last thing is success spans into filling the time available for its completion. So you want to make sure that in fact, I feel like I missed that one a little bit in my description, but you need to make sure that you have the available time, right? That's one thing you need to make sure of. If you're going to be successful, you need to make sure you have the time, right? You need to herd your crowd together. So your success is in herding that crowd. In other words, finding deals and finding buyers, finding sellers and finding buyers. That's your job. So the best thing that you could do is make sure you call sellers and call buyers. It's the most productive time you can have.
Mhm.
I've been writing a few emails the last couple of days on how to do this manually and how to do it automated.
Mhm.
And it is quite interesting how far we've come.
Crazy.
So, all right. Hopefully you enjoyed our podcast today. Hopefully I didn't get too profound on you and that you feel like I delivered my promise and the title and the description. Make sure you go like us wherever you're listening to us or watching us. Make sure you give us some feedback. Make sure you subscribe to the channel wherever you're seeing us or watching us or listening to us. And if you have any questions, you can go to a WhatsApp Messenger, type in Flipping Houses for Rookies, or you can send me a support ticket if you want to and get in that little mastermind group. Or you can send me a support ticket at Flipping Houses for Rookies for either Peter or myself, and we will make sure we get your questions answered. As well as if you can't find the WhatsApp link, just send me a support ticket and I'll send you the link. Okay? So thank you very much for your attention today. Hopefully we gave you some good advice and it will help your life change. And we will talk to you on episode number 354. The name of that episode is The Act of Negotiating, how to get extraordinary real estate profits easily. That'll be interesting.
Mhm.
Okay, guys, over and out. Talk to you in the next episode.
Thanks for tuning in to the hottest real estate topics on the planet with Bill and Pete. If you want to continue learning how to buy and sell real estate without money or credit, head over to flippinghouses.club for some cutting-edge real estate wealth tools. Or contact us at info@flippinghouses.club.